Thank you. Thank you, dear Speaker Emerita Pelosi, for your kind words and being a true friend of the Belarusian people. I admire your leadership, your wisdom, and your empathy. Dear President Katarina Lantos Svet, dear Annette, dear all Lantos family, dear excellencies, friends, and freedom fighters presented in this room. It's a great honor and great pleasure to receive Lantos Human Rights Prize, especially alongside dear Evgenia Kara-Murza. Evgenia, your courage has no limits. I admire you, how tirelessly you have fought for the freedom of your husband. Your courage is a source of inspiration for me and for so many others. Dear Vladimir, it's so wonderful to see you today, free and reunited with your beloved wife. Your release is a beacon of hope. It shows us well that no matter how dark the days may seem, freedom is never beyond reach. My story has been told several times already today, but I have to repeat that I have never expected to be a political leader. 4 years ago, I was an ordinary woman, just wife and mother of two. But sometimes life puts us in circumstances where we must step up and do what is right. When my husband, Sergei, was jailed for standing up against dictator, I knew that I had to stand up too. I stood for him, I stood for our children, and I stood for the millions of Belarusians who had been silenced for so long. Obviously, the dictator who ruled so many years didn't take me seriously. Belarusians will never vote for a woman, he told. And he was wrong, because it wasn't just about me. It was about a nation crying for freedom, justice, and for changes. Back then, we won the elections, but not only the elections, but the hearts of all Belarusians. And 4 years of repressions haven't forced Belarusians to change their minds or accept dictatorship. Belarusians continue to demonstrate bravery and courage and pay very big price for their freedom. Dear friends, today I accept this prize, of course, not for myself. This is the prize for those heroes who continue to fight. For our journalists who were forced into exile but continue to deliver the truth inside the country. And for those journalists who are behind the bars, like Igor Losik from Radio Free Europe, who cut his veins protesting against his jailer's cruelty. Or Katya Andreeva, sentenced to 8 years for live streaming the protests. This award for all our fearless women, like Maria Kolesnikova, who tore her passport to pieces not to be deported from Belarus, and now she's been slowly killed in Lukashenko's prison. For Irina and Volga Tokarczuk, mother and daughter, who were both sent to prison. First, the daughter for protesting the election fraud, and then her mother for solidarity. She was sent in food parcels to her daughter and her cellmates. I accept this prize for human rights defenders, like our Nobel Peace Laureate Ales Bialiatski, who was sentenced to 10 years for helping the repressed and calling for the national dialogue. Yesterday, he celebrated his 62nd birthday in prison. Or for Marfa Rabkova, who was proclaimed a terrorist and sentenced to 14 years for collecting evidence of regime's crimes. Her life is in danger, but her spirit remains unbroken. For activists like Polina Sharenda-Panasiuk, mother of 2 sons, who renounced Belarusian citizenship in protest of her unjust trial and is tortured in prison as we speak. I also accept this prize for my husband, Sergei, who remains incommunicado for more than 500 days, serving his 19-year sentence. My children haven't seen their daddy for 4 years already. Every day they ask me when their daddy is going to come back, and every day I have no answer. I don't know if Sergei is safe, I don't know if he is alive. But what I do know is that Belarusian people will never stop fighting for the dream, for freedom we dream of. And no repressions, no threats will stop us on this way. I do know that we will carry on the revolution that our people have started in 2020 until we win. I do know that all the people who were unjustly imprisoned, tortured, intimidated, and forced into exile will return home. Each of them will be rehabilitated and restored in his or her rights. I do know that all perpetrators who kidnapped journalists and raped women in jails, who gave draconian verdicts to pensioners or lied in trials, will be punished. I also do know that one day we will conduct free and fair elections to choose our democratic leaders, and Belarus will become a respected country in the world, donor of peace, stability, but not constant threat. And yes, I also know that path to freedom can be long. It can be challenges. That is not a sprint, it might be a marathon. We don't know when it ends, but sometimes we just have to do what is right, and history will put everything on its places. And fighting for freedom, for people, for what is just, for every man and woman, for every kid or elderly, this is the right thing to do. And I also know that no fight, no war cannot be won without allies. And many of these allies are in this room today, such as Evgenia or Vladimir, such as Nancy Pelosi, who makes dictators all over the world tremble. We need allies like the United States of America. Many nations around the world look at you as the leader in the fight for democracy and human rights. So don't stop standing for what is right. Don't stop supporting Ukraine and Belarus. It is our common fight for freedom. We need to continue applying pressure on Lukashenko's regime and Putin. For each crime, for every broken life, they must pay the price. We must reject the very thought that dictators can be appeased or dictators can be re-educated. Dictators can only be fought, and any weakness perceived by dictators, any hesitation is seen by dictators as weakness. We also need freedom champions like Congressman Tom Lantos, whose legacy we honor today. As a Holocaust survivor, he knew what tyranny is and where it leads when it's not contained. Tyranny spreads like a cancer when you don't fight it in time. Young Lantos was saved, together with thousands of Hungarian Jews, by a Swedish diplomat, Raoul Wallenberg, who was later killed by Stalin. Sometimes it crosses to my mind that we would need a new Raoul Wallenberg to save thousands of Belarusian political prisoners who are slowly dying in Lukashenko's jail. In the last years of his life, Tom Lantos was speaking about Belarus and fighting for our people. He knew well that the fight for freedom and human rights is not a local one. It's a global fight. He knew that dictatorship seemed invincible until they suddenly collapse. But it's moral duty of every powerful nation, like United States, to stand with those who are in need. Today, I want to applaud the Lantos Foundation for bringing the torch of Lantos' fight for freedom and justice. I want to thank you for this recognition that shines a light on the struggles of my people. This prize, this moment, remind us that we are not alone, that the world stands with us. When you are in cold prison chamber with a small window the size of chessboard, only solidarity you feel from the outside keeps you alive. You know that someone is fighting for you. Today, I came to call you to support all freedom-fighting people in the world. Your support gives us strength to go on. It keeps our hope alive, hope that one day Belarus will be free. Until that day comes, we will keep fighting, we will keep believing until we win. Thank you. Живи Belarus.